So I have a problem. Every time our neighbor walks through his yards and my dogs see him through the kitchen window, they start barking. I mean, the gall of someone walking through their own yard, right? So when SmartWings offered to send over a set of their smart shades for review, I thought, hey, yeah, let's install the shades in the kitchen, add them to Home Assistant, and see if we can't deter some barking. So let's see how that all panned out. SmartWings is a Texas-based company that focuses on custom motorized shades and window coverings. They support platforms like Alexa, Google Home, Apple Home, SmartThings, and Home Assistant, to name a few, making them a popular option for people who want their shades to be more than just something controlled with a remote. SmartWings offers a pretty extensive range of products, including roller shades, Roman shades, blinds, and drapes in a variety of fabrics and colors. But for this review, I'm going to focus on the Roman shades with a Zigbee motor and discuss the installation and how well it works with my Home Assistant. As discussed, SmartWings did send these over for my review at no charge, but they have not seen this video and do not have any say over my opinions, so everything you're going to hear is my own take. Starting with the ordering process, my wife actually wanted to handle it since she's much more focused on aesthetics, fabrics, all the feng shui stuff that I tend to glaze over. From her perspective, the website was easy to navigate and made it simple to browse the different shade styles, fabrics, and color options. She especially liked that you can order fabric samples before committing to a final selection. She did mention that there are quite a few decisions to make beyond just entering your window dimensions, but after working through them, she felt these options were actually a good benefit because they let you tailor the shade to your specific setup. As an example, choosing things like whether the motor is on the left or the right side can make a real difference depending on the location of your outlets and how your room is laid out. The one area where she got a little confused was choosing the motor itself. Now, SmartWings does have a helpful compatibility guide that explains which smart motor setup works with each motor option, but it's easy to miss unless you're looking for it. Since motor selection is probably the most technical decision customers need to make, she felt it would be helpful to have a simple wizard that guides you through the process based on your current smart home setup. That is asking you if you have like Alexa or Apple Home and then recommending the best motor based on that setup. Speaking of motors, the basic motor is included at no additional charge and still works with a remote. It just doesn't have any smart home integration. Upgrading to the Zigbee motor costs an additional $29, and on the higher end you have the Matter over Thread at $94. Since I already have a Zigbee network running through my Home Assistant, the Zigbee motor was the obvious choice for me. Having said all that, our particular setup ended up costing about $522, which includes the upgraded remote, which we'll discuss shortly, and the optional solar charging panel priced at $10 and $50 respectively. And since these are custom-made shades that ship from China, you'll want to factor in some lead time when ordering. In my case, I placed the order on April 27th and received them on May 15th. Which was pretty consistent with SmartWings' published delivery estimates. So in the box we have the Roman shades, the remote, the batteries, mounting hardware, manuals, optional solar panel, and a USB Type-C charging cord. Installation was relatively straightforward, but I did get lost at first because neither the shades nor the manual clearly identified the front and back orientation of the shades. I shared that feedback with my contact at SmartWings, who was very appreciative and receptive to the suggestion, so hopefully it's something they can tweak going forward. So pairing the shades with the remote only took about a few seconds since the remote arrives pre-programmed. However, accessing the pair button on the shades is a little awkward because it's hidden on the back of the motor, so you'll likely need a small tool to press it. In retrospect, I would probably pair the shades before mounting them next time, especially because I'm not exactly tall or what you might call coordinated. Thankfully, you probably only need to do this once or twice, so it's not that big of a deal. The good news is once the remote is paired, you can actually use the remote's own programming button, which is hidden under the battery cover, to place the motor into pairing mode for, in my case, Home Assistant, versus, reaching behind the shade if you need to reset the motor's pairing. As for the motor's noise, when opening and closing, the shades aren't really noisy, but the motor is definitely audible, so nothing too surprising, but I'll let you be the judge. SmartWings doesn't have a dedicated mobile app for controlling the shades. Instead, control is handled through your smart home system apps like Alexa or Google Home. Personally, I'm actually fine with this since I have more than enough manufacturer-specific apps on my phone for all my other smart devices. Now, one of my goals with these shades was to use Home Assistant to automate them based on the time of day. That is, close the shades at dusk and open them at dawn. The issue I ran into was the standard open and close commands for the shades weren't working correctly in Home Assistant. I ended up spending several hours troubleshooting the issue, testing different automation methods, reviewing device settings, and verifying the Zigbee configuration, but wasn't able to pinpoint the root cause of the issue in time for this recording. Thankfully, using the shade's positional values worked fine. Setting the shade to 0% fully closed them, 50% moved it halfway, and 100% fully opened them. The positional slider and other percentage-based controls also work just fine. So as a workaround, I simply configured my automations using position values instead of the standard up and close commands. In practice, that meant telling Home Assistant to move the slider to 0% at dusk and 100% at dawn, which has been working perfectly well. Speaking of controlling the shades, the optional 15-channel remote worked exactly as expected. My shade arrived assigned to channel 3, and if I added more shades in the future, I can simply put them on different channels and continue using the same remote. The remote can also be used to adjust things like upper and lower limits and even the motor speed. At the default speed, it takes about 15 seconds for the shades to fully open from the closed position. As for battery life, SmartWings says the motor is good for up to 60 operations on a full charge. We've been using the optional solar panel from day one, and after about 10 to 15 total open and close cycles between testing and normal use, including a few cloudy days, the battery has been sitting at about 96% on the day of this recording, which is actually pretty impressive. So after all is said and done and everything is configured and working, I really like using these shades. The remote is responsive, the ordering process was straightforward, the motor noise isn't obtrusive at all, and the linen fabric looks great in our kitchen. There are also a lot of little quality of life touches like the remote arriving pre-programmed and is ready to use right out of the box. That said, I did run into a few documentation issues and inconsistencies in the manual and website, including some translation quirks and areas where the installation diagrams and instructions maybe weren't as clear as they could have been, which made the installation a little more confusing. I also encountered a couple of issues when integrating the Zigbee motor with Home Assistant, although that hasn't been resolved yet, and that required some additional troubleshooting and tweaking on my end. Also, I've only been using the shades for about 3 days, so I can't really speak to long-term reliability. Whether the motor is still working at 30, 90, or even 365 days from now is something only time will tell. On the plus side, SmartWings backs the motor on a 3-year warranty, which provides some additional peace of mind. And that brings us back to our dogs. Yeah, they're still barking. The only difference is that now they're barking at the shades we installed to stop them from barking at the neighbor. So instead of solving a problem, I went ahead and created a new one. But hey, that's show business, right? Anyway, that's going to wrap up another video, tech fans. I wanted to thank SmartWings for sending out these shades for my review and all of their help and assistance during the process. And make sure to check out the link in the video description to take advantage of SmartWings' Summer Spectacular event, where you can save 8% site-wide from June 23rd through June 26th. And if any of you are using smart shades or are maybe considering them, let me know which smart home platform you're using and any other feedback that you have in the comments. While you're down there, please give this video a like. And if you found it helpful, make sure you're subscribed to Mackey Tech. Also, a special shout out to my Patreon supporters. You know who you are. Thank you all for watching. We'll be talking to you again very soon.